Winter has officially arrived here in Missoula, Montana, which means it's freezing out, there's snow on the ground, and honestly, it's a little intimidating out there. Most people think planning a winter hike is only for experts, but the truth is, with a few simple steps and the right tools, anyone can do it, even if there's snow on the ground. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Kathleen, a food-motivated hiker, solo backpacker, backpacking coach for women, and the Hungry Hiker here on YouTube. Hiking in the winter can feel overwhelming, everything from picking a trail and knowing current trail conditions to trying to figure out what gear to bring. So in this video, I'm going to bring you along as I plan my first winter hike of the season and show you my step-by-step process so you can plan your first winter hike like a pro without feeling overwhelmed or scared. By the end of this video, you'll feel more confident planning your own winter hike even if you've never hiked in snow before. If you're excited about this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for new videos each week about hiking, backpacking, and tips on how you can plan your next outdoor adventure. Before we pick a trail, I want to show you one of my favorite tools for planning day hikes and overnight backpacking trips, Onyx Backcountry. I use this for every trip I go on, including winter hikes like the one I'm planning with you in this video. Onyx helps me with the trip planning process like finding nearby trails, checking the conditions, mapping my route, and even downloading my map so I can use the app for on-trail navigation and not get lost while I'm out there. Basically, it's my secret weapon for feeling prepared and confident even when there's a foot of snow on the trail and I'm questioning all of my life choices. If you want to try it out for yourself, click the link in the description and use my code HungryHiker to get 20% off or start a free 14-day trial of Onyx Backcountry Elite. All right, let the trip planning process begin, starting with step number 1, picking the trail. You'll want to look for a trail that's beginner friendly in the winter. For me, this means looking for a trail with low elevation gain, something under 2,000 feet, shorter mileage, something around 5 to 7 miles, and has minimal to no avalanche risk. No sketchy cliffs, nothing too steep, just something that's easily hikeable if the trail is covered in snow. If you're new to hiking in the winter, you're probably wondering, how do I know if the trail is good for hiking in the winter? Let me show you my exact process on how I decide where to go hiking in the winter. So now we're in Onyx Backcountry, and I want to show you how to find trails that are near you. Easiest way to do that is to go to the Discover tab. Under the Discover tab, you can click on All, and here are all the different filters that you can use to search for nearby trails. So since this is going to be my first winter hike of the season, I want to choose an easy hike. So difficulty level, I want to choose easy. Length, I want to keep it under 10 miles. And elevation gain, I want to keep it under 2,000 feet. Once I have my parameters, click done. And then Onyx will give me a list of all of the nearby trails that are going to fit within my search parameters. So for example, if I click on the Missoula's M Trail, I'm going to get information about the trail, including photos, the total distance, elevation gain, and then trail conditions, including the current weather forecast for the trail. Now for my first winter hike of the season, I want to go to Blue Mountain. And Blue Mountain is right here in Missoula. And there's a couple different reasons why I want to go to Blue Mountain. First, the trailhead is easily accessible, which is really important during the winter. Second, there is a large series of trails in this area, which means I have a lot of different options on creating my route in terms of the distance I want to go as well as elevation gain. And third, this is a really pretty area, so there's going to be a lot of really good payoff. Moving on to step number 2, checking the trail conditions. Conditions in the backcountry can change fast, especially during the winter. A trail can go from dirt and mud to snow and ice. This is why you always want to check trail conditions before heading to the trailhead. Now that I figured out the area that I want to go on my hike, I want to do some research on the current conditions for the trail. So one of my favorite resources I like to use besides Onyx Backcountry is All Trails. I can go on All Trails and search for any trail, and this particular case I have Blue Mountain Lookout Dead Man Ridge Trail, which I know is in the Blue Mountain area. This might not necessarily be the exact trail that I want to do my hike on, but it's going to have some good information on here in terms of the route, photos of the trail. But if you scroll to the bottom here, you're going to get trip reports, and these are written by All Trail users. So the last date for the most recent trip report was on November 30th, and I can go through each of these trip reports and get information on current trail conditions written by users on all trails. And you can do this for any trip that you are looking to plan. Another condition I want to check is going to be the weather forecast. So I like using the National Weather Service, or NOAA. This is the current weather forecast for Missoula. So you can get just an overview of the forecast as well as the detailed forecast for the next 7 days. But if you go back into Onyx Backcountry, you can actually get the current weather forecast for the trail that you want to hike. Say I want to hike this trail. I just click on that trail and I can click on weather, and this will give me the current weather forecast for that trail. It will also give me the 7-day forecast for that trail. When I'm checking the weather forecast, I'm not looking at the weather forecast on my phone because that's usually going to be too general, too generic, and probably going to be different than what's actually happening on the trail that I want to hike. So if I want specific weather forecast information for the specific trail that I want to hike, then I'm going to use something like Onyx Backcountry to get that accurate information, and then also check NOAA, the National Weather Service, just to get as much information I can about the area before heading to the trailhead. Now I want to show you the map layers. So currently I have my map in topo, but I can change it to hybrid, which is going to show topo lines and satellite imagery, or you also have the option for satellite. Now, say I want to see if there is snow on the trail. I want to click satellite, and under the preferred base map imagery, I want to select recent imagery. This is going to give me the satellite imagery of a specific place in a specific time frame. So for example, this imagery is from November 10th through the 24th. And as you can see, these white areas means that the trail is most likely going to have some snow on it. And this is really helpful when planning my hike because I'm going to get a better idea of the gear that I need to bring with me and also to prepare for the conditions. I see that there is more likely going to be snow on the trail. I'm going to bring traction devices, trekking poles, and definitely pack my clothing layers. Another layer that I like to use when I'm looking for a hike to do in the winter is this avalanche terrain exposure scale. When I click that on, this is going to tell me or give me an idea of areas that could potentially be avalanche terrain. So as I scroll out here, I see that the map here has different shading. This is going to show potential avalanche terrain. But when I zoom in to Blue Mountain, this area is not shaded at all. So I'm pretty confident that this whole area, these trails, are not going to be in avalanche terrain, which is great because I don't want to hike in avalanche terrain. Step number 3 is map the route and create waypoints. In Onyx Backcountry, not only can I create a route for my hike, but I can also create waypoints to mark things on my map like where I park my car at the trailhead, potential water sources and break spots, landmarks of things I want to see during my hike, and potential campsites if I'm scouting out an area for a future overnight backpacking trip. And I can do all of this before I even step foot on trail. I always like to create waypoints. This way, future me can check these out when I'm out on trail for my hike. Now I want to show you how to create a waypoint. Creating a waypoint is a great way to make a note on your map of things that you want to remember and maybe double check when you're out on trail. For example, here I have a waypoint for a viewpoint that I know is out on the trail. In this example, since I am going to be parking my car here at the trailhead, I want to create a waypoint for where I'm going to park my car for my hike. So to create a waypoint, go up here to the tools box, click on add waypoint, and move this icon to the trailhead parking lot. Drop it there. I can name it parking lot. I can change the icon. I can change the icon color, and then I'm going to save. And now I have a waypoint created for the parking lot. Say you have never been here before and you're curious, how big is the parking lot? How many cars can fit there? Is this going to be a really busy trailhead? An easy way to check that out is to go back to this layers box and click on satellite. Under this preferred base map imagery, change it to high quality imagery and then zoom in on the parking lot. And as you can see, I need to move my waypoint. So I'll do that in a minute. But if I zoom in here on the trailhead, I can see that the parking lot is a pretty good size. I feel rest assured that I'll probably have a place to park my car. To change the location of this waypoint, I can just click on this waypoint and hit edit, click and drag my waypoint to the parking lot and save. Easy. Now I want to create a route for my hike. I know I want to start from the trailhead. So to create a route for my hike, I want to go back to this toolbox and click on Build Route and name my route. I'll select red, but you can select any color. And I always have it on this Snap To feature, minimize the route builder. And then for creating my route, I like to get pretty zoomed in because as you can see, there's a lot of different trails in this area. So I want to be as accurate as possible when I'm creating my route. So to create my route, because I've already got Route Builder going, I want to click on where I'm going to start and this little green dot's going to appear. And then the Snap To feature means as long as I'm on a trail, then this is going to create my route as I go along. Now, as you can see, there are a lot of different options here of different trails that I could take, and the Snap To feature can pick up on any nearby trails. So every now and then I'm just going to click on the map just so the Snap To feature knows that this is where I want my route to be, and then I will continue on. So usually at every junction, I'm going to click just to make sure I have my route going the way that I want it to. And I'm going to go up here to the viewpoint. I'm going to click on that and come up here, move down here. I'm going to take this little Forest Service road here and continue my hike. Maybe come up here and I'm going to keep going over here. I want to get to this other trailhead that's right off of this Forest Service road because then I want to walk this ridge line here. Come up here, turn at this junction, and I want to come up to this viewpoint. This looks like it could be a cool viewpoint, so I definitely want to check that out. And now I want to come back down and head back towards the trailhead. But instead of going the way that I came, I want to go a different way. So I'm going to go down this trail and take this trail all the way back to the trailhead. Now I want to open up the route builder again and I want to save my route. And once I have my route saved, I get really good information like the total distance for my route, which is 6.1 miles, which is great because I want to do a hike that's under 10 miles. So this is great. Elevation gain is going to be 1,000 feet. Great. Under 2,000 feet. Perfect. And to see where the high point is on my route, if I scroll out here, I can scroll over the elevation profile starting at the trailhead and slowly make my way along my route. And it shows that I'm going up and up and up, and that high point is right after that Blue Mountain motorcycle trailhead. And then I start to go down and then I go up just a little bit, and then it's all the way down back to the trailhead. Now, if I want to share my route with somebody, so say I want to share my itinerary and my route with someone who's not going to be going on the hike with me, then to do that, I can click on share and then copy this link and send that link to the person I want to share my route with. And then before getting to the trailhead, I want to make sure I have a downloaded map of the area on my phone before I lose cell and Wi-Fi service. To download a map with your route onto your phone using Onyx Backcountry, have the app open on your phone and click on Offline Maps in the bottom navigation bar. Select New Maps, which is the blue button, and choose the size of the area you want to include on your offline map. For map detail, I always leave it on medium. Click Next, name your map, and then click Save. Your offline map will start to automatically download. To test and make sure your offline map downloaded correctly, click on the Go Offline button, which will turn red when you click on it, indicating that the app is offline and not connected to cell or Wi-Fi. Then scroll in and make sure all the details of your route are showing up on your offline map. And finally, step number 4 is hiking gear and safety for winter hiking. Winter hiking does take a little more prep than warm weather hiking because you have to pack a few more things, but it doesn't mean you have to bring the entire REI store. When hiking in the colder months, you'll need a few extra things like clothing layers, traction devices, an 11th essential, and an emergency device like a satellite messenger. So here's what I actually bring for all of my winter hikes. Starting with my pack. For all of my day hikes, including hikes that I do in the winter, I use my Gossamer Gear Loris 25. This is a 25-liter pack. And then also in the winter, I bring a trash compactor bag. That way, if it starts to snow or rain, I can line the inside of my pack and put everything inside the trash compactor bag, so that way nothing in my pack gets wet. For insulation, I also have a lightweight puffy jacket. For my outer layer, I have a lightweight rain jacket. I also have in my pack a pair of liner gloves, a pair of warm winter gloves, a beanie, an extra pair of socks, and then 2 different buffs. So I have a lightweight buff. This just gives me a little extra warmth and protection from the wind. And then I also have this fleece buff, which is a little bit more heavy duty and helps me stay warm when it's really cold outside. I also have my repair toolkit, my poop kit, and my first aid kit, along with some snacks. For water in the winter when it's freezing out, I always carry enough water for me that I'll need for my entire hike in an Nalgene bottle. And then to help prevent the water from freezing in the Nalgene bottle, I'll wrap it in a neoprene sleeve. And a pro tip, if you store your bottle upside down and the water freezes, it's gonna freeze at the top. That way, when you turn your bottle right side up to drink out of the mouthpiece, your water won't be frozen. Some other things I include in my pack include traction devices like micro spikes. And I always like to have these on the outside of my pack. That way, they're easily accessible. Whenever I come across an icy part of the trail, I can just easily grab them, put them on over my shoes, and then continue on with my hike. I always carry a can of bear spray because I hike in Montana, and I always want to have the bear spray easily accessible. So I just put it right here in the sleeve along my pack strap. And I also always carry my fully charged satellite messenger, which I keep right here on the other strap of my pack. So it always has a clear view of the sky. And this is something I always bring with me on all of my hikes because most of the time I'm by myself. And so I always want to make sure I have a way to contact the off-trail world in the event of an emergency. And I always bring with me on every winter hike my 11th essential, which is going to be a hot beverage. So this could be hot cocoa, soup, broth, but I always like to have a hot beverage with me on a cold hike because it just makes being out in the cold that much more pleasurable. And I also carry with me my 10 essentials, which I never go on a hike without. So my 10 essentials include a map of the area that I'm going to be hiking in, my headlamp, an emergency bivvy or shelter, extra clothing, insulation, extra water. So for my winter hikes, I always carry at least 2 liters of water with me because I always want to make sure and carry all the water that I'm going to need, plus a little bit more because more than likely the water sources are going to be frozen during the winter. Plenty of snacks, sun protection like a hat, a buff, sunglasses, sunscreen, stormproof matches, my knife and gear repair, and my first aid kit. And here's what I wear on my winter hikes. Starting with the base layer, I'll wear a pair of leggings and a tank top. On top of my base layers are my mid layers, which has been one of my Ewer fleece treasure dresses. I'll also wear a synthetic down vest on top of my fleece dress for extra warmth in my core area. Since my feet and toes are prone to getting cold during the winter when hiking on snow, I always like wearing a thicker merino wool hiking sock. And pro tip for those of you whose toes are always cold, get yourself a pair of hot sockies, which are these neoprene sleeves that go over your hiking socks. Ever since I started wearing these on my winter hikes, my toes never get cold anymore. During the winter, when the trails are likely to be covered in mud, snow, and ice, I like a little extra protection around my feet and ankles, so I switched out my trail runners for a pair of these lightweight waterproof hiking boots that also have a wide toe box, just like my trail runners do. And then to help keep my feet dry and my lower legs warm, I like wearing a pair of Gore-Tex skaters. And I always rock a trucker hat and a pair of liner gloves to help keep my hands and fingers warm while I'm out hiking in the cold. Click the link down the video description below for more details about all the gear and clothing mentioned in this video, along with my complete winter hiking gear list. You don't need to be fearless or an expert to hike safely in the winter. To make winter hiking safe and less intimidating, all you need is a system along with the right gear and resources. With hiking in the winter, there's less crowds out on trail, there's no bugs, and it can be really beautiful when everything is covered in snow. Hiking in the winter can be magical, and you can totally do this. If you're looking to to feel more confident with planning your next outdoor adventure, whether it's your first winter hike or an overnight backpacking trip, check out the online backpacking program I created for women, the Confident Solo Female Backpacker System. Click the link down in the description below to sign up for a free one-on-one call with me to learn more about this program and how you can apply to join. If you liked this video and got some value out of it, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for new videos each week and hit the bell icon to get notified each time new videos are posted. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy trails and keep on trucking.